All right, guys, welcome aboard the River King.
Thank you, River King.
I am Captain Joe. This is my mate, Laura. We're going to go over some safety stuff here real quick. This is a Coast Guard certified vessel. It's inspected yearly, and I am a Coast Guard certified captain. So your safety is my utmost importance. Above your head is our PFDs, personal flotation devices. From here all the way back, adults. Here forward, 90 pounds and less. On that back wall there is a plaque, and up here there is a plaque with instructions on how to put one on. In that back corner on that wall there is a throw ring in case somebody falls overboard. I highly doubt that'll happen. If it does, just stand up. It's about an average of 3 to 4 foot in our estuary. In that back corner there is a fire extinguisher, and up here there is 2 fire extinguishers. When I go in and out of the slip, make sure you keep your arms in the boat. I get really close to these pilings and I do not want to pinch anybody's arms off. In that back corner there is a box with a door. That is a head, which is a bathroom on a boat. It is not like at home. It does not have a lever or a valve to push. It is a manual pump. It has a black handle. You pull it up and down and pump it, and kindly flush what should be flushed. There is a garbage can in that back corner if you need to throw some garbage away. I guarantee you will see some water. So I've been on the water here a little over 3 decades, commercial fishing. I grew up here. I know this area very well, and I am really good at hunting wildlife down here. So let's go out here and see what kind of wildlife we can find today, guys. If you look out in front of us, you're going to see these barges with black canvas around them. This is our local aquaculture. There are actually farm-raising oysters. These are the seedling barges. They will start out about the size of a grain of rice. They'll grow to about the size of your thumbnail there. Then they'll move them out to some floating cages over there in the East Bay. They'll go out there a few times during the week and power wash them, keep the algae off of them. And they'll constantly turn those cages over every day, stop them oysters from growing on top of one another like they do in the wild. That way they look very good on a dinner plate at one of these local bar or restaurants or fish markets. Pretty cool thing about it is a pair of sisters own this company, and they were actually featured on Dirty Jobs with Michael Rowe. So you can actually watch an episode and learn a little bit more about that aquaculture here in Sebastian. If you look to the right over here, you're going to see this island. And look in the top of these trees. There is some nests as we make our way around. There's one just to the right of that sailboat mast. And then there's one over here to the left. Most of them are osprey nests, but some of them aren't. So when we go around the corner here, we're going to see a few more. And some of them are going to be great blue heron nests. Also, you're going to see a bunch of birds in the top of the trees. You'll see a bunch of pelicans back there in the mangroves. There's actually a great blue heron back there along the beach line. I don't know if this island looks familiar to you, like Gilligan's Island. This is where it was filmed, guys. I told you I'd make some stuff up. It is missing a volcano, and it should be in the Pacific. You'll see an osprey right here. There's a great blue heron back in there on that beach. There's actually a couple turkey buzzards over there in the corner here. Hirams. So as we come around this island here, you're going to look to the right here, and up in these trees towards this back end here, there's going to be 3 nests. As the sun shines through there, you'll be able to see each one of them, and those are great blue heron nests. There's actually a great blue heron in the middle one. When you see the 2 there, you'll see the one in the middle, and then there's one out to the east a little bit. So 1, 2 there, and then the 3rd one's just showing now. You can see the sun through it. And then out to the east out here, there's another nest, and it is an osprey nest. And you can actually see the female. She's got a little white head sticking out of there. So we're going to go try to hunt some dolphins down here. It is definitely going to be a little more difficult than usual. You see how it's white capping and there's some waves here. So we're going to try to bump our way up to the north here a little bit and see if we can find some of these guys. The way to find them is to look out on the surface of the water and distance and try to find their dorsal fin. It is going to be a little bit more difficult today than usual because of the high winds. We're going to wander on through here and see what we can find. So they say there's about 1,400 Atlantic bottlenose dolphins in our estuary. I think it's like counting the hairs on your head. But the biologists do come out here and photograph their dorsal fin. That's going to be their top fin. And every one of them is different, like your fingerprint. I've actually named a few of these guys. I got one I call white tip, another one I call notch. He's got a little square notch out of his fin. I got one I call club. He's got a club on the side of his fin. I got one I call gash. Looks like he's been whacked with a machete. But no, that's his birthmark. They were actually born that way. If you would like to name one of these dolphins for $20, we'll make up a certificate in any color crayon that you pick out. And it will be your dolphin. Not let anybody else name that dolphin. We're just going to push down this shoreline here a little bit. I've been seeing all our manatees have been up our rivers due to the water temperature dropping below 70 degrees. It has warmed up a little bit. And we didn't see too many back up the Sebastian River toward there earlier today. So we're going to go hunt here this afternoon. Try to walk up the shoreline here. So see a bunch of birds in there tucked along on the shore there. A lot of those blackbirds are our cormorants. They're our water birds. You can see one flying right here. We will see a lot of them in the water. They are different than the other water birds we have. What makes them special is they have no oil in their feathers like the other birds. So they are not buoyant. So it gives them the ability to dive very deep and swim very far. And they say those birds can dive up to about 150 foot in the Atlantic. Here in the estuary, it's so shallow, you'll see him go down here, and he'll pop up there over by that island. Amazing swimmers. A lot of old timers would call it the snake bird, because usually all you see is their neck and their head sticking out of the water. And they'll come up with a fish about this long and about that round. It's swallowed whole like a snake. Thus, the snake bird nickname. I am looking for some dolphins through here too, guys. There's been a few down along the shoreline here today. I'm not seeing too much. We're going to start easing out here to the main channel. Just going to get a little farther here. Look out towards the east here. We're going to see a channel marker. And there's channel markers running north and south. That is called the ICW, the Intercoastal Waterway. So back in the 40s, World War II, we had German U-boats right out here on our coast that sank a naval ship or two. We're sinking a lot of our merchant ships. So the Army Corps of Engineers dredged the channel from Miami all the way to New York, about 1,600 miles. They did not inform the American public about it. It was not on the radio, and it was not in the newspaper. They did not want to spook the American public because the Germans were so close to our shorelines. And the spoils from the dredging, we got our spoiled islands. And you'll see these islands right here. When we start going back the other way in the channel, you'll see them on either side of the channel. They are man-made. They are first come, first served. They are open to the public. You're allowed to camp on them. And you can camp up to about 30 days. They're very popular, especially on the warm days here. These couple islands right up here in front of us are very popular. There's usually always a boat on this island. Today's the first day in a long time I haven't seen a boat on. You'll see people hanging out, barbecuing, socializing, swimming, drinking, and so forth. Sometimes you'll see 10 or 15 boats on one of these islands. Right here, we're going to go by this sign here. And there's an osprey nest in this sign. You can actually see their little head poking out. Some of these ospreys love these signs to make nests out of them. These ospreys reuse the same nest every year, and they also mate for life. This couple right here had 3 babies this spring. And if we get close enough to see her chest, she'll have little brown specks on her chest, and then a male will have an all white chest. But you can see how many sticks they gather to stick in that sign to make that nest. Do tend to see them in the channel. We're going to look at that real good on the way back, going back towards Pelican Island. I'm still trying to watch right here to see if I can find some. We do like to feed. We do find these dolphins all over the estuary. They do not stay in one spot. They keep moving all the time. Every day I'm finding them. Sometimes the same spots, but they're always moving around. They never stay in the same spot they were a couple hours ago. here due to erosion. Before this channel was dug, you could actually walk from one side of this estuary to the other side. It's very shallow. This estuary is This inlet is a man-made inlet, and it has a lot of history over that inlet. Most of the people that settled here in the mid-1800s were fishermen that settled in Sebastian here, and then the other people that were here settled were farmers, and they were citrus farmers. They actually started growing pineapples. We had a man named D.B. Gibson who fled Virginia in 1850, and he settled right behind us on this bluff just south of the St. Sebastian River. He was the first man to try to attempt to open an inlet here. There was many attempts to open this inlet. By the time they would get it dug out, it would fill right back in with sand. That went on for many years. But you also had the farmers here who did not want an inlet here, and they would sabotage it. While those guys would be digging it out by hand, shovels and mules, farmers would come at night and sabotage it. They were worried about more salt water in the estuary, it was going to ruin their wells, so they wanted more citrus fruit. That went on for many, many years, all the way until 1918. They got some stuff pushed through Congress, and finally voted on it here. And they had the Army Corps of Engineers. They had technology back then. They couldn't dig very deep because there's a lot of rock in that inlet, coquina rock, which is gold green. So they could only pull the sand out until they hit rock. It's very shallow. They kept filling it with sand. That went on. They would dig it out, they'd fill, dig it out, fill back in again. In 1943, we had a huge northeaster that washed that inlet back in again, and they left it. I'm coming to them. I'm just getting upwind of them because the wind's going to be blowing me that way and they're coming to us. Counteracting my movements here. So I'm trying to go swim to us here. So I've counted about 4 or 5 of them so far. And they are looking like they got a little spunk in them. Most of the ones we've been chasing around all day have been feeding the baby. It might be playtime now. They are. Ooh, there's mom and a baby. Yeah, there was another small one next to the mother. You'll see the mother come up and then the baby come up right beside the mother. After those babies are born, you'll actually see the mother, the baby, and then like aunt, grandmother on the other side. So I've counted about 7 or 8. They're all coming towards us here. Just keep coming here. Sooner or later, they're going to be on the other side of us. Now they're in front of us. You are more than welcome to get up and walk around. Did not put any glue in the seats today. Right here, they might show off for you guys. He's looking like he's feeling spunky there, that young one. Usually they are. They're very, very playful, just like kids. You'll see them jump and play around, come up to the boat, check us out. Very curious, those little guys. They say they live about 45 years. Females, 60 and more. Go figure. They're going to probably pop up on the other side here. We're all headed toward. There he is, that little guy. Oh, he's showing off. So So there is no mating season. They're the only other mammal besides humans that mate for enjoyment. We have a lot of baby dolphins every year, guys. I call it wrestling. These guys like to wrestle a lot. Usually you catch them in the afternoon sometimes. Usually it's a menage a trois. It's usually 2 or 3 males and 1 female. Yes. So what it is there's different pods in different sections of the estuary. So as you go up the estuary, there can be different pods. When you go south, there can be different pods. It's the same thing in the Atlantic Ocean. The same pod out of Cape Canaveral, the same pod out there on the reef, same pods that sit out here in front of Sebastian Inlet or out in the ocean on the reef. Same pods off of Fort Pierce. So as you go up and down the coast, there'll be different pods. These guys all have their certain area that they stay in. They don't travel too far. I mean, they might go 5, 6, 8 miles that way, or 5 or 6 or 8 miles that way. So this is their section. All the fish in this area are theirs. These dolphins stay on all the biomasses. They know where every group of fish is and every species is in this estuary. And they move around and they eat this fish one day and that fish another day. They say they eat about 30 to 40 pounds of fish a day. I've seen them eat a 40-pound fish in one eating. They eat a lot of fish. These guys can get up to about 700-800 pounds. You will notice in the estuary, you will see them a little smaller than the ones out in the Atlantic. These guys have actually evolved over time. Since they don't have to travel as far or work as hard to catch fish, they're actually not as big as the ones you'll see out in the Atlantic. And because it is so shallow, their lung capacity is shorter, so they actually come up and breathe more often than the ones out in the Atlantic. And their pectoral fins, that'll be their side fins, they're actually bigger, and it gives them more maneuverability in the shallow water. We're actually dead in the middle of the channel. It's the deepest part of the estuary through here. It's 12 foot, sometimes maybe 14 foot. I am actually marking little balls of bait. That's what these guys right here doing. They're eating on these little baits, whether it be little bread pigs, glass minnows, whitebait, bogies. Sometimes we'll get some shrimp in the channel. So they eat a lot of different species every day. They also like big fish too. See one of these cormorants up in front of us who just popped up. Hang out a little bit, they'll go back down and go get him a fish. There he goes. He'll be down there for a little while, he'll come back up. A lot of times they'll come up with a fish, like I was saying, they'll be about that long, about that round, and they'll swallow it whole. They are very shy though. Every time they catch a fish and I try to go over there and show you up close, they go away. They don't like me letting you see them eat. They're very shy and conscious of who watches them while they're eating. There is alligators in the estuary, anywhere where these freshwater rivers or beaches. They do migrate out in here. We have a huge influx of freshwater. And right in this area, we have a shoreline between Sebastian River and Hirams there. Even on the barrier island, there's lakes and ponds. Anywhere there is fresh water in Florida, there's an alligator there. Whether you see it or not, there's one there. If you read Google, they'll tell you they can. But I've been fishing this river all my life, and I've caught alligators in my nets before they took the nets from us in '95. There's alligators at every entrance. I have not seen one, but they have found 2 different crocodiles 4 years apart up there in Barren Island. Crocodiles are coming back, but they were hunted to eradication on purpose by the settlers here in the late 1800s, and they tried to kill every one of them because they are very aggressive, but they are coming back in numbers now. I want to say 16,000 or something is the number now. So they have come back quite a bit. We have about 1.3 million alligators in Florida and 3.6 million in Louisiana. This is the sharks in this estuary. We have bonnet heads. People mistake it for a hammerhead. It's kind of a shovel head. And we do have hammerheads. We have nurse sharks. We have spinner sharks that come through when they migrate. You'll see them in the bays here, jumping and spinning. And tiger sharks. There's quite a few different species of sharks that come in the estuary. I've been swimming in this place my whole life. I used to swim across here when I was a kid with my surfboard because we didn't have a vehicle. Me and my buddies would swim over here to the beach, we'd surf all day, and we would swim back. Well, you can walk most of this stuff here if you had to. It takes a while. You do it no more. I used to water ski. I've swam around these islands. I've swam over the sandbar. All the years that I've been here, I've never heard anybody get bit by a shark because there is sharks in the estuary. We do get a bunch of different rays. We get a lot of cownose rays. We get spotted eagle rays. And the estuary is full of stingrays. So when you do walk around in the estuary, you do the shuffle, the Indian shuffle. You keep your feet on the ground and you slide across the bottom. You start picking your feet up and stomping, and you step on top of one of those stingrays. Some of them have 2 or 3 barbs. They will stick a barb in your leg, and you will get a very bad infection. Hundreds of boats going up and down this channel. Looks like 95. Now, manatee is a totally different story. Manatees do not move out of the way very fast, but they are like a cow. A cow out there in the field, you don't see it move much, but if you scoop him, he can move, just like that cow. The manatees aren't very aware of their surroundings, and the boat goes through like that in shallow water. You can strike them. Most of the times we do not see the manatees in the channel unless they're crossing from one side to the other. Most of the times you'll see them on the collagen guys up here, or the snowcrab guys up there fish. We do have a decent fishery on the East Coast, but it's very, very abundant on the West Coast, all the way to the Panhandle. There's another osprey nest up here. You'll see a little white head up there. Telling you some of these islands are eroding. We're losing about 10% when I was a teenager. This island right here is as big as that big island over there, and it's eroded away. It's actually sucked a bunch of the sand and made a long bar that goes out to the channel here. And I just seen a dolphin on the other side of this bar here. He just threw a fish in the air. Did you see that? Yeah. Threw it up in the air. These guys do that a lot with their fish. They'll chase it around, catch it, let it go, catch it, throw it up in the air, let it go. Kind of like how your cat plays with mice. That's how these guys are. They actually make their food before they eat it. These guys are a bunch of wolves. They act like wolves. They hunt with bats. They work on these fish and hurt them up. They just live and eat them. They're not very nice to the fish. There's actually about 7 or 8 of them right here, guys. I'm not going to be able to drive over there to them. Yeah, that's what we call a sandbar. We call it the bar. Cross the bar, around the bar. You can actually walk all the way across all these islands here. There's quite a few dolphins here. There's 5 up there, 5 there. These guys are my nemesis. This is the only boat I've ever run where they swim away from me. Commercial fishing, these guys follow me all day. They're always around the boat, eating the fish out of my nets. They like gear. They can be very aggravating and frustrating sometimes. They will steal fish from you. These guys go out here and hand line king mackerel offshore out here. There's actually a king mackerel boat anchored up there. Those guys will trawl around and hand line those king mackerel, pulling them in by hand. These guys will follow you and look after the fish you catch every day. They will snatch them out of your hand and actually hurt you. These guys are very, very smart. They hear that kingfish boat coming out. They probably could name each boat that they're messing with. They know the vibration and the sound of each boat, so they can tell that it's a kingfish boat coming out or coming out to the bar. They'll actually follow that boat as he's crawling around in a big circle. And I've had them behind the boat, following me, and they can tell me I'm going to get a bite before I know I'm going to get a bite. I'll see them get excited and start going fast and get to catch up with me. All of a sudden, my line will pop and start coming up, and I'll eat that kingfish. So they even know that fish is going to eat my lure before I eat it. They're very, very intelligent. A net fish out of King Canaveral, long nets over, gets Spanish mackerel, sharks, and bluefish. And I got a guy out there called Lumpy. And I'll run my net over, he'll swim down and eat fish out of my net with all his arms swimming. I'll pull my gear out of the water, run 2 miles, put my net in the water, and here comes old Lumpy with all his friends. Smart over time. No, I can't bother doing nothing. It's a federal crime. They are very strong guys. When I was telling you how much they weigh, it's because they're all muscle. They're very, very dense. They don't look like they weigh that much, but that one coming up right there is every bit of 500 pounds. And they are super strong. They would hurt you if you try to grab one.
Baby.
Yeah, these guys are hanging out by the boat. Sometimes they end up hanging out, do tricks, play. Some days they don't want no part of us.
High pitch.
Well, some of these dolphins have been released from SeaWorld. Over the years, one has been released here, one has been released in Cape, one in Fort Pierce, one in Vero. There's actually a book in Pierce, fisherman's wrote, that talks about them releasing these dolphins and how they evolve, the kingfish that they're catching. They're called rake marks. Whales do the same thing. They actually reprimand each other. There's a pecking order. And you'll see those lines. That's where they've been reprimanded by another dolphin. As their teeth marks slide down the side. They actually don't bite them, but they just grab enough and slide it. That's why you'll see those lines on there. It's from other dolphins. Not feeling too bad for a rough windy day. We're still around some of these guys. Sometimes I gotta go on a little trip and it'll night for the last 20 minutes. We got lucky this afternoon. Got your heat. Right next to us. Ooh, that one's on its side. That's a wrestling move right there, guys. You start seeing them upside down and on their sides. And when you see 2 tails coming out of the water, they're wrestling. Yep. derelict vessels. That one has been forgotten. It is actually a habitat now. There's barnacles, all kinds of living organisms on it. So fish are using it as home. A lot of organisms are using it as home. There's a good picture for you guys. Go to work, boys. Go to work. Nah, they ain't going far. There's more up here, too. You're going to come right back and land back on the sandbar. So I'm going to run them off again. Out there fishing offshore, long lining. These guys follow us all night and day. And they never stop saying, mate, all night and day. So anytime I can create a little payback and they can fly off from their little cozy sandy spot, they can get the point. Yeah, sometimes that works. You see some more of these pelicans. You can see some young pelicans, the brown ones. You can see the mature pelicans. The ones that have the white and the gray, it's like us. White and gray. Come on, guys. Come on, there you go. Good work. You see a cormorant right there with his wings spread out? Right off. Good work. Yes. Good little video or picture here, dear. Look at that. Check that out. You ain't seen that yet. We get those grackles that go over to the preserve here, and it looks like that movie from the birds. Another one of those very popular islands. There's always somebody usually camping on this island. You actually get a couple of different groups of people camping on the island. Somebody will camp on this side, other people camp on the other side, other people camp on the east side. These islands are very clean. When I was a kid, a teenager here, sometimes you sit out on the island and people are there the weekend before, there's trash everywhere. You don't see that anymore here. Everybody that comes out to these islands are very conscious nowadays. They always keep their garbage. If somebody leaves their garbage, they keep their garbage out. So you won't see none of that on here. These islands are very, very clean. People on them every day, every weekend. The only thing you might find on these islands are little pieces of toilet paper. The branch right here, this little blue bird, it's got a little white ring around his neck. It's called a kingfisher bird. They usually do not sit still for too long. Yeah, very, very beautiful plumage. Hasn't even flew off yet. I have noticed with this colder weather, there he goes. But in the summertime, you won't even get within 100 yards of that bird. He flies off. A lot of those bird people that take pictures say it's one of the hardest birds to photograph. Oh yeah, these birds poop all the time, guys. Anywhere you get somewhere where the birds like to get a lot, you'll see white paint, pelican paint. Over there, and some of them didn't die, and you would actually nurture them back to life or nurture them so they're healthy again. So they started calling it the Pelican Day. Well, some Audubon Society people got with, some were in Congress, and they got a piece of paper pushed through Congress and put on President Roosevelt's desk. President Roosevelt was a sportsman and also a conservationist. President Roosevelt made this island the first national reserve of the United States and made Paul Provo the first game warden of the United States. Back then, the line was very light anyway compared to how much the weather was. So there's things going on. There was actually two meeting points after one. you tend to see these manatees on this flat here beach when they do come up out of the canals. So just keep our eyes peeled here. If anybody sees a big swirl, mention it. Let me know. We're working up to this island here. There's going to be quite a few species of birds on this island. One in particular is to the right, all the way to the right. You're going to see these big white birds on the water. These are original snowbirds. These are the white pelicans. They show up around Thanksgiving and they leave around Easter. They travel 1,600 miles to get here from northern states of the United States and Canada. They are the second largest flying bird in North America, with over a 10-foot wingspan and can get up to 30 pounds. So another really cool bird here is the Rosetta spoonbill. You'll see this pink bird behind above the mangroves right there. It's actually turning right now. There'll be a few of them here. These guys turn very, very pink with their diet. The richer their diet, the pinker they get. He's actually flying to the right now. Oh, there's one flying to it too, just above the water. Up to the right, now in front of us. It's the Rosetta spoonbill. They got a long bill, and it looks like a spoon is round at the end. Like I was saying, they eat a lot of krill and shrimp. They'll turn very, very pink. If their diet is not very rich, they'll actually start to turn back white again. So you'll see some of them with a white head, a pink body, or a white belly, and a pink. They'll be real pink under their wings sometimes. Actually, a very beautiful bird. You'll see now that you'll see these little flocks steadily coming. Just keep watching. You can see them in the sun, and then all of a sudden they'll pop up. So you'll see some of those bigger white birds in the mangroves. Those are going to be wood storks. And then some of the big white birds are going to be the great white egret. And then a lot of the little white birds in the bottom of the mangroves, still not in the water, but on the mangroves, are going to be the snowy white egrets. All the little white birds along the shoreline are going to be the white ibis. You see those everywhere. They're like a farming chicken. There are people's yards eating bugs out of their yards. You'll see them along the shoreline. You'll see them along the ditches. You're actually going to see some big flocks of them flying in here. Here's a wood stork flying up. He's got black tips on its wing. That is a wood stork next to that brown pelican. Go